being in mortal danger. Just how important is fear when it comes to training HEMA? Next. Jeff Tsai, Forte Swordplay. So recently I've been privileged to have some really fun, productive video exchanges with folks doing great cutting edge work in HEMA. Recently there was a great response from Dr. Nathan Clough from Arms and Armor talking about HEMA and its relationship with experimental archaeology. Specifically the importance not only of the tools being used, but also understanding the appropriate context behind them. We're going to have more to say on that in the near future, probably after winter break, when we talk about HEMA and evolving rule sets specifically for training HEMA. But for today, I wanted to do just a quick sort of follow-up video on something that Dr. Clough brought up about the concept of fear. Fear of your opponent's weapon, and whether that should play a factor in HEMA training. So I wanted to talk about this because this is something that comes up periodically when you're talking with people about rule sets and training and everything. And there's this idea that, if you're dealing with knife fighting and you're training techniques and then all of a sudden someone pulls out a real knife, you're going to react differently. So is that true? 100%, right? So the danger, though, I think, is this idea that if you're training with anything short of like lethal weapons or that kind of danger, that what you're training is invalid. And I would push back on that, right? So what is the importance of fear? And to that point, like, can we actually train for it effectively? So in my mind, there's kind of two big components here. Part of it is the sort of psychological element, the fear component, right? So this is where HEMA tournaments can be super valuable, right? So for anyone who has not done HEMA tournaments or tournaments in general, one of the things that you'll probably experience, for the first time is just a certain amount of stress, just from competition, but also from the unknown, right? So the first time you're experiencing something that is designed to put you in a situation where there's going to be aggression against you, there is a natural kind of response there. So the sort of response against aggression, the response against the unknown, while you can't fully address the psychology of, just a self-defense situation that pops up where any number of things could be happening. There's always going to be a certain amount of stress and fear that is specific to each situation. At the same time, what you can do is acclimate and to some degree desensitize yourself to, okay, even though the situation is dangerous, I have been in stressful, dangerous situations before, and at least help address and get used to that kind of feeling, right? So I don't think you can ever fully train against a completely new lethal kind of situation, but what you can do is at least desensitize yourself a little bit to just the being familiar with that kind of situation. So tournaments, I think, is really, really good for that kind of training against the fear component specifically. The second component is about technique. So in a situation where you're dealing with something that is lethal, are we using techniques that are appropriate? So again, whether we're talking about just training in your martial arts school or when we're actually getting to do things in competition, think about what you're training technically, right? So a couple points here. So number one, I think the key point when it comes to dealing with lethal stuff and making sure that you're training for it, number one, I would not devalue anyone's training just because it is not against a lethal situation all the time, right? There is value in escalating from, kind of a gentle approach in terms of just getting the mechanics down straight, all the way up to, okay, well, this is very serious now, and what I'm about to do needs to be high percentage. It's got to, there's got to be a really good chance it's going to work. I want to have high confidence in that, right? So in order to kind of be able to kind of fill out the top end of that spectrum, particularly when you're thinking about sparring or about rules, a couple things to think about. Number one, every hit should matter. So one way to make sure that what you're training physically matches a potentially lethal situation, you don't want to get touched. You don't want to get hit, right? So regardless of whether the weapon is sharp or not, dangerous or not, if you're training technique so that anything that is coming in from that weapon is something that you are doing your best to make sure that you are not getting hit or injured by, that is going to be a really good match to then dealing with that, a situation that is actually lethal with that weapon, right? So make sure that you're thinking every hit matters, right? And treat it as such. The other thing is, if you are inevitably going to take a hit, because that happens, when we think about like knife fights, this is one of the things that people, kind of commonly say, like expect to get hit, expect to be cut, expect to be stabbed, right? So again, if you're going to take a hit, which I want to emphasize, you want to, in a situation where you're going to take a hit, which you were trying to avoid, that's the key, right? So we just want to avoid a situation where I'm taking a hit, but I'm sort of ignoring it and pretending I sort of don't care in order to do my technique. No, the idea is try not to be hit, try to get techniques that work that way. And then the other thing to explore is, okay, if you do happen to take a hit, what can you do to minimize the damage afterward? And then also make sure that you also don't let them get away with it. Can you trade better if you have to take a hit? So yeah, so I think when it comes to thinking about mortal danger and training for it, in the end, tournaments and training still need to be implemented in a safe way, right? So that we can train safe for a long time and then also steadily escalate from, sort of a nice, easy approach, just learning the mechanics on how to do things, to really dealing with a situation that potentially could be lethal, right? In the end, yes, we should definitely fear mortal danger, right? No, I don't think we need to make things super dangerous to account for this kind of training effectively. And this is where the fun part of HEMA is, I think. So we have the benefit of being able to do intelligent design of rule sets and training, kind of over the course of 2 decades, kind of building and rediscovering all of these kind of techniques from documentation. So yeah, so I think the idea of mortal danger and fear, really important, but there are ways to train for it, and we should kind of do the best that we can and still make sure that we're safe and have ways to kind of escalate from things that may not seem super lethal to things that could be lethal that we know how to train against. So that's all for today, and probably we'll catch you guys after the holidays. So have a great, safe, and fun time with friends and family to end out 2025. See ya.